let's go through everything I knit for myself this year. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Alella Knit. Alella is Finnish and it means on the waves. My name is Reetta. Yeah, today we're going through everything I knit 2023 for myself. Everything I knit and finished. I did knit some gift knits and maybe some random socks or something that I don't have here, but I tried to gather everything I have in my closet right now that I knit during this past year. So I have my notes here and I'm trying to go through them in as much of a chronological order as I can. Maybe I should start keeping better notes of my knits so that I could remember when did I cast on something and when did I finish something, and the yarn I used, the needles and size I knit, because I haven't been tracking anything so I might forget something, but I tried to go through my memory and have as much information as I can. And yeah, I thought I would go through also things I have learned with these projects, things I learned I like, or things I've learned I dislike, or things that doesn't work for me, or just chatting some points from each knit. So yeah, maybe we could start with this thing I'm wearing. This is the Doit Sweater from Petite Knit, and this is knit out of woolly knit, the British wool cones, held double, and the color is Skida Nep. It has these, well, neps in it. I think it's very nice. I finished this during the spring of this year and I have worn this very much. And the first knit that I am not wearing is this one. This is the Moby Sweater by Petite Knit, and this one I finished maybe in February, and I used Novita Nummi yarn, which is also this with these tweedy bits or neps. And this is maybe my most worn piece all year. I wore it all year round. I really like the fit and the cables. I highly recommend this pattern. It was very popular and I understand why, because it's such a nice knit. I'm very pleased with this, and really nothing I would change with this knit. And then after that I made these Pioneer gloves out of some stash scrap yarns. This was drops brushed alpaca and then some fingering sock yarn. These are just these ribbed gloves. I couldn't find the other one, but I'm sure it's somewhere, and these are maybe a little bit snug for me, so I might just give these to Heidi DIY Knitting Podcast. Nothing much to say about these. Fingerless mitts were a very nice thing to have during the end of the winter, beginning of the spring, so that I could, for example, knit outside. And then I also used some scrap yarn to knit these very basic mittens. The thumb is different yarn than the rest of the mitt, and the gauge was slightly larger, though, so the thumbs are very big, but they do their job. So these were a fun, quick, cute knit. And then I also knit some, continuing with the accessories, I knit this scarf out of some leftovers I had from the Moby sweater. I also made a headband, but I couldn't find it. It's somewhere with all my hats. But yeah, this thin, long scarf, kind of similar to the Sophie scarf, but then not the Sophie scarf. I did like this. And I used some leftover white mohair as well with the Novitanummi yarn. I hope this isn't just very boring to watch when I just go through these like that. Then the next thing I made was this white sweater. So this was a test knit for Reetta Pellikka R Knits, but I had some issues with the yarn. This is the Drops Alpaca Silk. I don't know if they do that anymore. I had it in stash, so I used that one. I held it double here, and at first my gauge was okay, but this sweater turned out to be smaller than was intended, and there is so this was knit from bottom up and here on the shoulders. So the pattern used 3 needle bind off on the shoulders, and it's very non-stretchy, and the neck is also very non-stretchy, so I can use this, and I like this, but this is not as oversized as I would like to, and you can kind of feel the shoulder seam, so maybe not my favorite. And the yarn, it's very drapey, and that's what I like about it, but it's very peely, and I don't think the result is as neat as I would hope. There's these funny little gaps. Maybe it's my fault, maybe I didn't have the right gauge for the yarn, or I don't know what went wrong, but this is not maybe a project I'm most proud of. But it's a very nice plain white sweater, so I do use it quite a lot. So pleased, but maybe it could be a little bit better. This would need a peeling. Maybe I'll do it soon. And then after that I made this Jenny sweater, and then it was time for summer and summer knits, and this was the first summer knit I made. This is also R Knits Reetta Pellikka Helle top, and I used some kind of linen yarn held double. I think in my previous knitting podcast episodes I have shown most of these projects there and the yarn in more detail, but this was a very successful project. I used this top a lot during the summer, and I really like it. Just a plain white, very basic. I might just knit another one of these for the next summer. And then continuing on the tops, I have this Talma top from the Reetta Pellikka Neulos book, and I used a Rowan yarn linen something, and well, I did use this and it is nice, but something I learned was that linen yarns with not a lot of stretch and bounce into them are not maybe the best ones for a fitted top like this. This has this ribbed detail, but this like stretched out in use a lot and it doesn't like bounce back, so these are like very floppy, the armholes and the neckband. So I might just rip this out and make a different kind of top out of this yarn, because I really like the feel of this yarn, and this was a very nice thing to wear when it was hot outside. So maybe a new life for the yarn, but yes, no, note to self, don't use linen yarns or something that doesn't have that stretch or bounce in projects like that. After that, I made this shell top. This was self-drafted, so no pattern for this, but this has this like a shell motif pattern. And then, so the yarn I used was secondhand from Kässäkirppu, and it was an old wool linen blend yarn, and I had one skein of that, so I ran out of yarn just here at the top. So then I used some other secondhand yarn I got from Heidi, maybe it was Busy Garn, also wool and linen blend, so I used that for the bind off edge, and then these I-cord straps, and I made 2 I-cords on each side so that they can be tied on a bow, and this was a very cute knit. What I learned is that I really like the blend of wool and linen, and that's maybe something I want to work more with in the future. And after this, I really had this spark for starting to just enjoy creating things myself. During the summer, I really started to get inspired and be creative. During my summer holidays, I felt like my mind was finally empty enough to have space for creativity. I had just graduated and school was over, so I had really time with my imagination and creativity. So after this, I started working on the first version of my Doit sweater. I used some Tokuwool fingering held double in the color Hisu, and then some drops alpaca, and then some other white yarn I had in stash. I don't really remember. I didn't really plan what I was doing. I just started knitting. I had this vision, and I don't have the sweater here because I actually gifted it to my dear friend like a month ago or something, because I'll show you a bit later, but I started working on really designing that sweater and I wanted to make another sample, so then I thought I won't have the need to keep several of the same sweater, so I gifted the first one to my dear friend, and I love seeing her in it. But it was still summer and I was working on a very woolly color work sweater, so I wanted something a bit more light as well that I could work on. So I casted on this blue sweater, just a oversized boxy fit. This was roughly based on the white sweater I made earlier, but with some modifications. But here I used a light blue cotton yarn held together with a white cashmere cloud. It was quite similar to like brushed alpaca or like a mohair yarn, but it had some wool and cashmere and maybe cotton as well. But they created this very nice light, more like a summery sweater. But I don't know if blue is really my color. I like this, but well, I have to see when summer, when next summer comes around, if I end up wearing this, or will I maybe give this to someone else, because the fabric is really nice, the fit is really nice, but I am not sure if this light blue is really my color. We'll see. Another colorful thing is this Launa top by Arnitz. I knit this in the Knitting for Olive pure silk in the color copper, and this is such a beautiful top. I really like this boxy silhouette, and the pure silk feels amazing. But the color, this one suits me much better than the blue one, I think, but I just don't wear colors. I know this is maybe not the craziest color, or some of you might see this as almost like a neutral, but I love it, but I didn't end up wearing this that much. And I think if this was like a white or a light beige or black, I think I would have worn it more. So I haven't decided what to do with this. For now, I'll keep it. And I have worn it a few times, but not as much as I would like to wear something I have spent hours and hours making. If you have watched my podcast episodes, you might remember the Doit sweaters. So in the beginning of the year, I made this version of the Doit sweater, which is a pattern by Ikyo Knit. And as you can see, there are some ends here that I haven't woven in, because even though this is a very beautiful sweater, this ended up fitting a little bit more snug than I wanted, and somehow it just didn't turn out the way I had imagined it. So I never wove in the ends, and I think I might just frog this and use the yarn for something else. This is the Lamana Como yarn, and it's unbelievably soft. This is such a nice yarn. So I really want to make something I will use out of it. Sometime next year I will take the time and frog this, but I really liked the design. So then I made this one, which is much more like oversized, and I did go up with the needle size and the gauge and everything compared to the first one. So this is a much more relaxed version. I used Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the shades of white and hazel, and this one turned out very beautiful. I really love this, and I have worn this quite a lot, but these sleeves are very big and they are not the most practical thing to wear if you're like eating or doing something they get like on the way. But I really do like it, and I'm happy I made this second version of the oppa, because the pattern, as I said, it is such a gorgeous pattern, so I'm glad I took the time to redo it. Now I just have to take the time and frog the first attempt, but yes, I highly recommend this if you like color work, because this was very intuitive to make. I'm starting to get out of breath. Few more to go. So we're already in the fall time, and you probably all know that Petite Knit came out with the storm sweater, and I of course had to jump on the bandwagon and make my own, and I think this one is so gorgeous, and this might be my favorite of all of these knits I made this past year. The fit is perfect for me and the color is perfect for my liking. So I used BC Garn Bio Shetland and then some undyed Finnish wool held together, so they made this off-white beige oatmeal kind of color, and it's perfect. I love wearing this, and nothing bad to say about this. I did make a mistake here when I picked up the stitches for the neckband. I didn't pay attention when I picked these stitches up, so you can see that there are like some of the pearl bumps showing and some of them aren't. But I see that every time I wear this, but it doesn't bother me, so I haven't been bothering to rip this out and do it again. But I see it always. But it's fine with me, so I'll just keep it like this. But yeah, it's maybe a small flaw there. Nobody's perfect. It's okay. I still wear this every week, I'd say. So this was really a success. Then I started to work on my own pattern, the Doit Sweater I mentioned earlier. So I got gifted this Tuku wool yarn by Tititu. So their Tuku wool DK. I got gifted it for this project, and here is the color work version. This is Nila, and Nila is the golden brown, and then Sake is the white. Then I also made this gray version with there's no color work, but it's similar to the storm sweater. It has like pearl stitches that make the pattern. And this, I don't remember the gray colorway for the Tuku wool DK, but there's only one gray. So this is the gray one, and this is the color work version. And I'm so proud of this. I think I might do one more version of this because I haven't published the pattern yet. I still have some work to do, and I might want to make one more to test some things out. This is the first time I'm writing a pattern, and with the color work and everything. It is slow work, for me at least. I think this is very nice, and I have worn both of these quite a lot. Then I made a beanie out of some leftover from the gray one, and this is, I wanted to make this for when I go cold swimming and into the sauna, so I wear this in the sauna as well when I go, if I go like sauna, cold swim, so it keeps my body temperature more steady. So just this was knit from top down, just a very basic 1x1 ribbed hat. We're getting closer to the end of the year, and only a few things left. I made these Halla gloves, these fingerless mitts. These are my own pattern, and I have a free pattern for these on my Instagram, Aloilla Knit. They are very basic, but there is this lateral braid detailing on the edges, and I used Drops alpaca held double for these. Very simple and very easy, quick knit. And I also have a video tutorial in the pattern on my Instagram for this lateral braid. And I wanted to make a hood as well. So this is leftovers from the Doit Sweater, the KFO heavy merino. This is just a very basic hood. I think the gauge is a bit too loose, so wind comes through this fabric. It's not that dense, so maybe not the best one, but if it's not windy, it keeps my head warm. And after that, I wanted to do another one with this gorgeous gibard garn teddy deer. This fluffy, this is my tuiskussa hood, so there is a free pattern for this as well on my Instagram, and I have like a knit the hood with me video on my YouTube channel, so you can find this both on my YouTube and my Instagram. And this one is, I love this. This is so cute. And then came December, and I was just knitting on some gift knits. I made 2 adult male sweaters, so quite large ones, and then 1 baby sweater. So I had my hands and needles full, and then I just wanted to do something small for myself, so I made these ornaments for this tree. So Rebecca from Hip Knit Hooray had this scrap ornament make along, so I was really inspired, and every Advent Sunday I made something new, and I posted on Instagram a reel and a small tutorial, or just how I made these. I made these felted balls like these, and then dried oranges, and then, well, you can't, don't think you can see, but there's on top of the tree there's a crocheted star or a snowflake, and then I knitted some small angels. That was everything I made for myself during the past year, the year 2023, and I'm very pleased with everything I made. Some have got more use than others. I think I learned a lot about fibers and what I like to wear and what fibers work for what kind of garments. I have knitted for almost like 20 years, but the first years were just me knitting socks and scarves and accessories and maybe some very basic sweaters. I made some cable sweaters and colorwork sweaters, but just I wasn't really invested like on researching about fibers. I just made things that were easily available for me, mostly from my mother's stash, and I just used these free patterns from one knit magazine we get here in Finland, and I didn't really know about this whole world about fiber arts and designers and knitting patterns and modern knitwear, and that kind of thing. I only got into like really into garment knitting during the past few years, and maybe this year was the first year I really started to get into this and really start researching about fibers and taking things more into consideration and start to make things more mindfully. So a lot of learning this year. I'd love to know what were your favorites out of these and what have you learned during this year, knitting related or not. Yeah, I thought I'd make another version of this video, like what I knit and didn't finish, my UFOs from this past year, and maybe why something didn't get finished, and yeah, my plans for the new year. That was a lot of information, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope I could keep you company when you maybe worked on something yourself. And thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram at aloilanit, and if you like this content, please give it a thumbs up and follow or subscribe to my channel. Come say hi over on the comment section or on Instagram, and until next time, stay healthy, stay happy. Happy knitting! Thank you for watching. Bye!